Hello and welcome to the radiotimes.com Doctor Who podcast. My name's Hugh, and this week I'm once again joined by Rob Lean, radiotimes.com's gaming editor. How's things, Rob?
Things are good, thank you, Hugh. Yeah, nice to be back. I can hear Morgan seething from here.
Yeah, Morgan's toast. He's gone. Who needs him? No, Morgan will be back. In a future episode, like many Doctor Who characters. But yes, this week the reason I have Rob on hand is because we're actually talking about a game. Yes, Doctor Who does games quite often, actually, and we have a gaming editor who is a Doctor Who fan, so it seemed like the perfect point to bring Rob back in. So, Rob, I don't know if you want to explain. The game we're talking about today it's called Doctor Who: The Lonely Assassins, and it's a mobile game. And I don't know if you kind of want to explain a little bit more about it for anyone who might not know.
Sure, yeah. So, yeah, as you said, it's called Doctor Who: The Lonely Assassins, which fans with good memories will remember is kind of an alternate name given to the Weeping Angels back in that famous episode Blink when they were first introduced. And so yeah, the game kind of sits in a little genre called found phone. So kind of the whole game is kind of made to look like the interface of a phone that you've found. And so you kind of load up the game and you go into it. And yeah, basically there's apps on there, there's messages, there's emails, there's pictures and videos that this person has got saved on their phone. And there's basically a bit of a mystery for you to piece together that it's hard to say too much about the story without spoiling it because they're not too much of the kind of story specifics are out there in the world. But yeah, suffice to say that you find a phone and you kind of over the course of, I think it took me about 3 hours to get through the first playthrough of it, but I do want to go into it again. And yeah, it's quite fun, lots of Easter eggs in there for Doctor Who fans and a few returning faces and voices as well, which is fun.
True. It's been pretty well advertised that Ingrid Oliver is back as Osgood. Although, for Big Finish fans, obligatory mention of Big Finish, she's never really left because she's been doing the unit series. But yeah, so she's back in live action. I actually spoke to Ingrid about this, which an interview that isn't out on radiotimes.com yet, but will be. So check that out. But yeah, so it's quite cool to see her back in action. I haven't played the game, so I can't say too much. It is interesting, though, the thing you just said about the found phone genre. I didn't know that was a thing. I had never heard of that before.
Yeah, I've kind of learned about it from playing this, really. There's a company that kind of specializes in them called Kargan Games, who made this one as well, and they've kind of done a few before. There's one called Sarah is Missing, which is quite famous.
Oh, I think I have heard of that, actually.
Yeah, and so basically slightly interestingly, the company that made the Doctor Who VR game last year, Edge of Time, that company is called Maze Theory, and they're kind of a publisher on this one, and they've kind of brought Kargan Games in to do like a Doctor Who version of a found phone game, which is quite fun for a change.
Yeah, and very scary Weeping Angel scenes in that game as well, in that VR game, which I played. And the fiends made me go and they made me stand up because they said it was more immersive and I'd be more scared. It was very stressful. It was just a very stressful experience running from Weeping Angels, but in a good way, I think. So eagle-eared fans listening to this may have noticed we haven't commented too much on the quality of the game. There's a reason for that, which is that it's embargoed to do a review. So we haven't done a review. If you thought this was a review, if you claim to have heard a review-like comment in any of this, it's your imagination. It would be impossible and against the rules. But we didn't want to break our basically our normal podcast schedule, so we thought we'd just talk about the game generally. But we do have still a bit of a special treat for you about the game. Because Rob has spoken to a couple of the developers about it. I mean, Rob, do you want to talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, definitely. So, kind of segueing on from what I was just saying, the two people that I spoke to were Ian Hambleton, who is the CEO of Maze Theory, who are kind of seem to be the kind of custodians of Doctor Who from a gaming side of things at the moment. They did the Edge of Time VR game last year. They're publishing and kind of co-working on this one. And then they've got coming up The Edge of Reality, which is the one which has David Tennant kind of joining the Doctor Who Gamerverse, which is quite fun. So we've got Ian Hamilton, who's the kind of CEO of that company, and Jeremy Uoy, who is the co-founder of Kargan Games and is kind of one of, if not the kind of main game designers working on the Lonely Assassins. So I chatted to them for a good hour, and we've kind of selected a chunk of it, which will be quite interesting to people to listen to, hopefully.
Yeah, so here's what happened when Rob caught up with the developers behind the Lonely Assassins.
Why do you think that this kind of found phone format works particularly well for the Weeping Angels, which you kind of settled on as your kind of main focus in the end?
I think, well, one of the things is a lot of the stuff that Kygon have done before is in the sort of slightly horror space. And, you know, Doctor Who, people don't quite, non-Whovians, I think, don't quite realise how horror-based Who can be. And so we felt that was a bit of a natural fit. We'd also seen incredible responses to Edge of Time for the Weeping Angels. I think they're like becoming one of the fans' favourite monsters. And I think it was just we saw the scripts and we just were like, this is going to be amazing. And, you know, certainly my favourite episode of Doctor Who is Blink. And a lot of fans feel the same. And we just thought that story needed to kind of continue and be told a bit more. So yeah, basically that was how it got. And then I suppose, like, Jeremy, like, you know, you were involved in helping us pick what do you think suits why do the Weeping Angels suit this game?
Yeah, I think for me it's like when we first got wind of that we're getting this Doctor Who project, when we were like watching through clips of old shows, old episodes and stuff, and we're scratching our heads, how can we adapt this? And I think when the original concept, when the concept came that we are doing a take on the Weeping Angels, and when we saw Blink, and we were like, this works, like it fits, because I think Blink itself, it's a very unique episode because it didn't really focus on the Doctor that much. It focuses more on like figuring out a mystery, and the tone of the episode as well is very creepy. It's very horror like. I think like people went missing, and that the creep factor that just kind of crawls under your skin, that sort of tone, and it just fits because we've been doing that for a while, and having the Doctor Who IP with that tone, with that monster in that phone itself, it's a natural fit. Yeah.
And I've been googling the last couple of days, trying to wrap my head around the whole I've got it written down here, that which holds an image of an angel becomes itself an angel. That kind of whole concept, which came up in the Matt Smith era episodes, I think.
Right.
What was kind of your guys' kind of take on that, and what it kind of means, and how you kind of deploy it in a way?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge for us is that how do we adapt the Weeping Angels into this space, into this new space that the angels have never explored, or rather like we don't know how the angels can navigate this space. And the Matt Smith era Doctor Who, they did explore that concept, and that phrase itself, when I watched the episode, that phrase just stuck to me for a long time, and I was like, how do we bring that to the phone? How do we bring that element to the phone itself? We explore the components of the phone. We explore like what people see on the phone, and we're like, hey, what if this is something the angel that can do? And we build on that concept, like use the elements of the phone and how the angel manipulates that element, and also building on the fact that an image of an angel, what does an image mean? What does how do you construct an image with different components of the phone itself? And we came to a new way of presenting the Weeping Angels that we thought were we thought we were very excited. We were very excited about it, and we were super worried. Like, is this something the BBC are they gonna be okay with it? This is so new. This is like there's no reference to any of this from any previous shows or whatsoever. And when it got approved, we were like, oh yes, awesome. Like my God, we get to contribute to the lore a little bit. We get to contribute to the presentation of the angels even just a little bit. I think that was something that we were very glad, and we were very proud.
Yeah. I think it's a really cool way of kind of like you say, kind of adapting, slightly evolving kind of what the Angels can do, kind of adding your own spin onto it.
Yep.
You mentioned there kind of the process of getting approvals from the BBC. Like, what's kind of that process like? I imagine it must be kind of nerve-wracking while you're waiting to hear back.
Well, I it was nerve-wracking at first, but the process has been really smooth. Like a lot of their feedback, uh, helped us to build upon the concept. So like, when we pitched the idea in the beginning, we had a lot of backups, and we were like, okay, this is what we really wanted to do. But then if they're not okay with this, then we have some other backups, which we were like a little bit safer, a little bit more in line with the show as well. But I think the only thing is time. Given the time, and they gave us like, I don't know, a 4-page document on how to on which part to amend, and how do we adjust to make it fit into the existing lore. But that but they're all whatever that they told us is just to help us build upon what we have pitched. So it was nerve-wracking at first, but I think the support that came from them was very helpful and was very inspiring. Yeah.
Yeah, I would probably just say that I think that the thing is actually Doctor Who's quite a good IP to work with, actually, because the BBC are open to extending the lore and doing new things, as long as it isn't false or break a rule, or
Yep.
we had a few things on the Edge of Time where in the scene in the Victorian chambers, the way the angels can come at you, we had to completely redo that as gameplay, because the BBC were like, they're not able to move in this way, and so you do need to stick to the lore for the authenticity and make sure that fans are happy with that. And the BBC are great for that. But I think we were a bit lucky here. We were able to introduce a new angel. They were able to manipulate technology. We've got that line like the guys talk about, which is like, no phone is safe anymore. And I think that's really, really good fun, right, for fans, so who knows, maybe now that you've had the game, your phone, that's it for your phone for now.
Yeah.
It's
I
funny,
think that in that Matt Smith episode where the angel the one where they observe them from the CCTV, we had that image in our office. We were like, we need to somehow bring that in, like how does that look like in the context of the phone? Yeah. So yeah, that's
yeah.
Yep.
It's we've mentioned Blink a few times already, which obviously how could you not when you're talking about the Weeping Angels? But like obviously this game is pretty much a direct sequel or kind of continuation from the story in Blink. Was that kind of particularly daunting? Because that, like I said, Ian, that's kind of a lot of people's very favourite Doctor Who episode, or kind of right up there on a lot of lists.
I think
does that kind of add an extra pressure?
Yeah. I think it. I think it's just really fun and exciting. I don't think we're scared by any of that. I think it's the best of Doctor Who, and to be able to embellish that is just brilliant. I think what we found as a studio, so we sort of co-developed this. So we've done a lot of the production and a lot of the script and a lot of the stuff here, and then the development's been done out by Kygon, and we did all the shoots during the middle of COVID and stuff at West of Drumlins and everything. But for us as a studio, the authenticity is the key thing. So, when does this go out, by the way? Can I just ask, Rob?
It will be, I believe, next Wednesday.
Okay, fine. Well, look, I don't think I'll be revealing too much to say. And in fact, you can see it in the trailers. We made a real point of going back to the original cast. So tracking down Larry Nightingale and reaching out to him and sort of, finding him. And he's not like a major actor, or, we were very lucky to get Osgood as well, as you've seen. Like, so for us, I think it's good to revisit those bigger shows, but you have to do them with a degree of care and authenticity to make sure that like fans are getting that, like the true thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you touched upon the actors there. Yeah, we were chatting excitedly, me and some of the other Whovians in our virtual office, about having Larry Nightingale back on
That's amazing.
our screens for the first
I
time.
was going to say, it's just so funny to sort of reach out to him on Twitter, I think, and just say, hey, have you got an agent I can speak to? We might have a Doctor Who thing. And he was like, yeah, just call me. And, you know, it was just brilliant. So it was just really good.
I enjoyed being able to see some of his selfies as well. They were
yeah. I mean, it's just great fun. We just went and did a little shoot with him and the other character, Nat. And yeah, it was good.
And obviously, yeah, you've mentioned her already, Ingrid Oliver coming back as Osgood. What can you kind of say about Osgood and your take on her and how she kind of factors into it?
So I think Gavin Collinson, the writer, suggested Osgood as like a really fan favorite. And I know she's not in Blink, you know, but she's a real fan favorite. And a lot of the game mechanic that Kaigon tend to use is this sort of companion person that's quite technically advanced and is able to sort of hack into your phone and give you guidance and stuff, a bit of an assistant in the whole world. And I think Gavin just thought she'd be brilliant for that, you know, remotely accessing the phone and helping you along the way. So, I mean, Jeremy, you were one of the people pushing for that whole inclusion. So how did you find that in the game? Like, what was the purpose?
I think she's perfect for like as a very accessible character to speak to, because again, what Ian mentioned is that for our games, to help the player to help the player go through the game, to understand the mechanics and to sort of know what to do, we need that sort of companion. We need that sort of person who is a little bit more knowledgeable but needs your help to sort of to move forward, to figure out the mystery, to understand the problem, and so on and so forth. I think for Osgood, she serves two purposes. Like, she's the person that knows that sets up the premise and what you're supposed to do, but she's also very knowledgeable of the Doctor Who universe itself. And because you can interact with her, because you can interact with someone like that, we also gave an opportunity to basically ask her, what is unit, or what is the Doctor, who is this, who is that, and she's and I think it's very fun to interact with her. For me, but at the very least, it's very fun to have someone from the Doctor universe that you can just refer to and will just give you whatever that you need to move forward, and also to understand the world a little bit better. We want to make sure that this game is accessible to Whovians and non-Whovians alike. So having said that, we make sure that the dialogue choices are we're not trying to throw any jargons too much, not too many technobabble, not too much technobabble, not too much inside jokes or whatnot. But there are opportunities where you can ask her, and if you want to know more, you can ask her, so she doesn't like drop too much exposition. If you watch every single episode of Doctor Who ever, you don't really need to know, for example, who is the current Doctor, for example. You don't need to know that, but for someone who's new, they might want to know that. So we actually have additional dialogue built into to help the player understand the world a bit better, if they so choose to. And if you're a Whovian, if you're a veteran of the Doctor universe, just chug along and just get into the current story itself.
And now we're back in the present. We've returned from Rob's little trip into his own past, very Doctor Who-like, to talk to the developers. So yeah, The Lonely Assassins comes out on the 19th, Friday the 19th of March. If you're listening to this after that date, good news, it's already out. You can play it and see what you think of it yourselves. But yeah, Rob, I mean, where can people get hold of this game if they fancy playing it?
So yeah, it's going to be coming out primarily on mobile devices. So it's on iPhones on the App Store and any other kind of phone through the Google Play Store. It's also coming to PC via Steam. And there is a Nintendo Switch version coming, but that's not coming on the 19th. That's going to launch at a later date, TBC.
There you go. I mean, although it's technically not a found phone game if you get it on Steam or on your computer, because then you just have to pretend that you're lugging a laptop around, which has a great camera on the back for some reason. But apart from that, I'm sure it's just as immersive as the main one. Well, listen, that's all you're getting from us this week. A slightly different take on the radiotimes.com Doctor Who podcast. Please let us know if you'd like to hear more about Doctor Who games, about, have more interviews in these, or whether you prefer us just chatting. We're eager to hear what you think. And yeah, we'll be back next week talking about something else. I don't have the schedule to hand, and it might change, but I'm sure it'll be great. I do remember what it is now. We may be looking back at a classic Doctor Who monster. But until then, I've been Hugh.
And I've been Rob.
And this has been us playing games on our phones secretly while recording. Goodbye.